Good morning and welcome to After GMS. Today is Thursday, September 2nd. I'm Tracy McCain here with Megan Malaris and Ed Matthews.
We're going to get to our top story this morning. A somber day all across the Triad as our community mourns the death of a student killed at Mount Tabor High School yesterday. We'll have the very latest on the investigation. So many condolences pouring in, so many signs of our community coming together in strength right now. And you can go ahead and drop a comment here on your feed, just how you're feeling, how you might be talking to your student today about what happened, and we'll share some of those responses coming up.
Certainly a somber day as we think about the recovery, the healing that is now underway in Winston-Salem. A bit of a different recovery in terms of Triad weather. Yesterday we saw the remnants of Ida, making its last exit from North Carolina, but really causing some damage in the Northeast. And making it a nicer day for us here, though.
Yeah, a good bit of flooding to our north, and places like New York City being inundated with as much as 5 to 8 inches of rain. Now, all of that has moved out, and high pressure building in is going to set the stage for some dry and less humid, very comfortable conditions. It's a beautiful morning. We've got sunshine. A few clouds will mix in as we head through the day, and I think overall kind of a mix of sun and clouds. Low 80s today, about mid and upper 50s tonight, back into the low 80s for Friday and Saturday. The weekend is just going to be fantastic. We're looking at low and mid 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Still dry and less humid. Labor Day, Ed, it's Labor Day, is going to be nice as well. Temperatures will warm into the upper 80s.
Right now we do want to talk about our top story this morning. Wish we didn't have to even mention something like this happening in our communities, but it is a reality. The city of Winston-Salem dealing with a shooting investigation. It is now underway at Mount Tabor High School. A 15-year-old student is dead. A juvenile, another student at Mount Tabor, is in custody.
The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said the shooting happened just around noon yesterday. The school quickly locked down along with several others in the area and even as far away as Parkland High School, a 20-minute drive from Mount Tabor. The Sheriff's Office said there were not any other incidents in other schools. To be clear, they locked down as a precaution because the suspect search was active. The school district did bus students at Mount Tabor to a secure staging area to get them out of that location. Well, the first staging area was a Harris Teeter on Peace Haven Road. As parents waited for their children, chaos broke out.
The sheriff's office initially thinking shots were fired at the staging area after a possible suspect sighting. The police department, working in collaboration with the sheriff's office, later clarified that there was no confirmed shooting in the area, but a disturbance that caused all of this panic and chaos, which obviously sent parents in even a higher emotional state. Eventually, families were reunited at the Coliseum. The process, though, taking hours. At 8 o'clock last night, the last remaining students from the school were reunited with their families. So we know today that Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem is closed, understandably, as students start to gather themselves, process, and think about what happened yesterday, what they witnessed, and what they all experienced. It is going to be the start of a very long process to recovery. Investigators are trying to figure out why this happened. We know what happened. We don't know why it happened.
The motive obviously still unclear. That will be the subject of the investigation today and in the days ahead. But the chaos, the emotions, the trauma of yesterday will linger for who knows how long for everyone who was at the school, as well as the teachers, the parents, the bus drivers, the community members, and the law enforcement. So let's go to WFMY News 2's Itanise McMiller. She is live in Winston-Salem this morning with what the district is doing to help. Itanise?
Well, for starters, as you mentioned, students are not in school today. Mount Tabor is closed. And although there are no classes going on today after such a horrific and chaotic day yesterday, police have made their presence known all morning. You can actually see one of those police cruisers behind me. They have been blocking all entrances to the school this morning. Now, there is good news in all of this turmoil. The suspect is in police custody. They are a juvenile, so little information is being released on exactly who the suspect is. And for those who witnessed this unimaginable tragedy, the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School System is offering support. Crisis counselors are available today at off-site locations for parents, students, and staff. Families can also contact the school counselor. Here's a message from the superintendent for Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools.
Our hearts go out to William's family and to everyone impacted by this tragedy. All of the students and staff that were on site that witnessed this tragedy. We are praying for everyone. We're praying for William's family and all of our students and staff.
Again, Mount Tabor is closed today. All other Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools are open.
Yeah, and it's very good that we have that clarification here, because Mount Tabor is, one of the largest high schools in the area. They are closed, but the remaining schools in the area are open. So, and there is no learning at Mount Tabor, not even online today. The school is closed. They need this day to grieve and to process and to start figuring out how they're feeling. If yesterday was such a shock, as I'm imagining it is, overnight and this morning, they're starting to process, my goodness, did this really happen in my school? Is my friend really gone?
I mean, we heard from a student yesterday who said he thought when all this happened, when they were huddling in their classrooms and the sheriff's deputies and SWAT bursted in and said, "Put your hands in the air." He said, I thought it was a drill. He said he thought it was a drill. And then the parents, as they were describing to us what they were hearing from their students, they could not believe that this had happened. They said time and again, repeated interviews, that these things happen across the country, unfortunately, in this time in which we live, but they don't happen here in the Triad. They don't happen at that school in Winston-Salem. And yesterday it did.
Yeah, it did. And also concerning, it was the second school shooting in North Carolina this week, which is one reason I think the governor will be on hand today at a news conference at 11 this morning as we look ahead to the latest on the investigation and the suspect that they do have in custody. As families reunited yesterday, they were able to hear from their students about what happened inside of the school.
So you can hear directly from a freshman at Mount Tabor.
And I heard banging on my classroom door. And I was just, I say shaking a little bit. I text my mama and say, "Come get me a moochie because they shooting at the school."
I can't imagine being a parent receiving that text from my child. Many people in the community told us they were leaning on their faith as the day unfolded. You saw that beautiful image of a prayer circle. Here's how they felt.
Just pray for the family. Pray for the ones who made it out. Pray for the ones that just went to jail. But especially pray for the family who actually lost their child.
Prayers for the family. Well, we have been praying here as a team as well. We do want to make sure you have the facts of the investigation. There have been a lot of internet rumors spreading, and so we want to kind of break down what happened in the hours that led to the shooting and what's happening now the next day as officials come together and give us new information in about a few hours.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there is that news conference, a collective news conference with the governor, with school leaders, with the sheriff and the police chief at 11 this morning, nearly 24 hours after all these law enforcement agents initially responded to the high school. WFMY News' Sydney Moore is live now outside of the school with more on the investigation and the updates we expect to come. Sydney?
Yeah, Tracy and Megan, obviously this is just a devastating and heartbreaking situation that has happened here in the Winston-Salem community. And just like you said, that press conference will be held at the Forsyth County Public Safety Building at 11 a.m. Now, leaders will speak more about the shooting that occurred at Mount Tabor High School. This story struck the attention of Governor Roy Cooper, who will be in attendance, and there will also be an appearance from Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough and Winston-Salem Police Chief Katrina Thompson. Yesterday, Sheriff Kimbrough spoke at a conference about the devastating loss of William Chavis Raynard Miller Jr.
Every chance I get, I will update you, because as always, we're in this together. No matter how sad today, we're going to get through this. We're still a safe community. I want you to know that.
The chief also reminded folks to pray for the Miller family and the children at the school. We will have live coverage of today's presser on air and online. And police say this is still an ongoing investigation, but they will provide updates when they can.
We want you to look at this. It really speaks for itself. Our sports anchor Amanda Ferguson captured a picture of a double rainbow. This appeared above the spot where Mount Tabor High School students were reuniting with their families after several hours of tense moments yesterday. It was a very tough day. It will be a tough time to come for the Triad community. And of course, everyone is extending thoughts, sympathy, and prayers to everyone deeply affected by this. As parents anxiously awaited for their children to arrive at the Harris Teeter, the initial staging location, you can see a person here offering a kind gesture, handing out water to the parents. Here's another group handing out water. Some of them were members of Elevation Church in Greensboro. They said many of their fellow church members are students at Mount Tabor, and handing out water was the least they could do to help. So incredible to see this outpouring of support, as we do every time there is a traumatic incident, a tragedy in our community. And we pulled up here this picture of a billboard. This says hashtag Spartan Strong. Spartan is the mascot of Mount Tabor High School. And we've learned a dad of a student put up this billboard right outside the LJVM Coliseum. That was where students eventually went to meet up with their parents last night after they had to move the location. So I'm sure this was such a calming presence just to see and feel that sense of community support during this unbelievably traumatic time.
There are no words.
Yeah. Yeah.
No words. I mean, this should not happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, we pray for strength. You know, I pray with my family every day for others in our community and for our family as well. And to see this happening here is tough. It's really tough. But, you know, we do rely on our own strength. And, you know, I personally rely on my faith and my strength through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And I can't go a day thinking, what if this happens to me? It just, there's no words. As a parent, as a community member, as someone who's been in this community all of her life, it's unthinkable, unthinkable.
It is. You know, we report quite often instances of school lockdowns. If there are situations, police investigations happening in areas around the schools, the school districts take precautions. Very, very rarely do we hear of an incident of a weapon being brought into the school, but B, that weapon being discharged and actually hurting and killing a student. That is unfathomable. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, several of the parents, as they were waiting with anxiety and agony, some of them could not make contact with their students, whether their phones had died, whether they were still in hiding and didn't have their phones at the time. I felt for every one of them because that would be so painful, not being able to connect with your child and know that he or she is okay. And as I came home from work yesterday and hugged my child, all I could think about was Mrs. Miller, the mother of William Miller Jr., whose son did not come home from school yesterday. And she in particular is going to need everyone's support in the days, the weeks, the years to come. This will never go away.
No, I mean, I don't ever want to imagine myself in a place where Mrs. Miller is right now.
Yeah.
The entire family, brothers, sisters, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, everyone has a piece of this 15-year-old man with them, friends, teachers, coach, pastor. Anyone who he ever came into contact with is being touched. I don't know this young man, and I'm touched. What I am praying for is, I was going to say closure, but I don't think there ever is. There's, as a parent, I don't think there's any other thing that you can imagine than, losing your child. That's just not something that you ever want to have happen. So I just pray for her strength. I pray for her. I pray for this community. And I know, the biggest criticism that people get is saying, oh, well, pray for this, pray for that. But I mean, I really do pray. I am a prayer warrior. I'm not someone who just says I'm praying and not do it. I'm doing it because I do feel like there is healing in prayer. I know it. Prayer's healed me personally, so I know it can heal others.
Yeah, I feel you with that sentiment. Something really important we heard from Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough Jr., the Forsyth County Sheriff, and the Winston-Salem Police Chief Katrina Thompson yesterday in their news conference. They were really emotional. And I think that the moment that we heard that emotion was the moment we knew that this was not going to be the outcome that anybody wanted to hear in this situation, that sadly the student had passed away.
Yeah.
We heard that emotion, and what particularly was touching was hearing from Sheriff Kimbrough. He was describing the conversation he had with Mrs. Miller, the student's mother, and he said when he talked to her, the first thing she said was, "Kimbrough, my baby." And then she asked him to say her son's name at the news conference because she wanted you to hear it. She wanted others to hear it. She doesn't want anybody to forget him. And hopefully in the days ahead, we'll learn more about William Raynard Chavis Miller Jr. and the impact that he had on his family and friends in this community.
It's going to be a tough week.
Yeah.
It's for this family, it's going to be a tough rest of their lives.
Yeah.
The impact never goes away. So, I know in the plans, at some point, we're supposed to rally ourselves and toss to weather, but I personally am having a difficult time trying to figure out to do that. So this is a perfect transition here. This is from one of our sports anchors, Amanda Ferguson, that really just sums up, I think, the hope, the process, the feelings that people are going through right now, this rainbow. After the rain yesterday in Winston-Salem, this is the exact location where parents and students were reuniting after hours of questions and anxiety and wondering if their students and their friends were going to be okay. This is the meeting place, and you can see that rainbow. That's that amazing picture and sign of hope and clarity. To me, a sign that God is there. God is present in this.
Yeah. Sometimes we see the absolute worst of Mother Nature, which we did recently with Hurricane Ida, especially last night as it moved north. But Ed, Mother Nature and a higher power have the ability to provide us beautiful reminders of what really matters.
Yes, absolutely. And God speaks to us in many different ways. That rainbow was him speaking yesterday, putting calm over the high school and over the city of Winston-Salem. He talks to us on a daily basis, and we should listen and find comfort. In Piedmont weather, it's going to be, quiet and nice over the next several days, right on through the upcoming holiday weekend. Temperatures into the lower 80s over the next few days, and we'll warm up a little bit by Sunday and Monday. But the bottom line, just some great weather as the Triad and the city of Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, and our friends in Winston-Salem continue to heal, God bless everybody, and may God have his mercy on the Winston-Salem community moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time, and we thank you for joining us. We're going to be getting updates on this story throughout the day. Yes. The latest live update is supposed to happen at 11 o'clock this morning, and our plan is to bring that to you live as it is happening, and of course we'll have more updates at noon for you on air.
All right, thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for extending your thoughts and prayers to the community who is grieving today and will be grieving for the days and weeks to come. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.